It's Booty again. Come on, baby beauty. Oh, doo-doo-doo-doo. All right. Topic of this video is, I thought it was fitting to film it outside because the topic of this video is going to be talking about work-life balance with the squirrels. So work-life balance, the eternal struggle, unless you have a really good employer, a really good job, or you have your own business, or retired or something, but then that's its own struggle. I found to be, it's very, so I guess I'm jumping into it in a little bit. It's Stubbsy, Budapest and Stubbsy. All right, I found, oh, it's the Lion King. It's Scar, baby, king of the universe. Okay, so I have found a little bit, for me, in my experience, has been more of like hours thing. So it's not like a feeling of guilt or anything like that. It's employers that kind of try to push the law in what's legal and have employees work more than is legal or ethical and stuff like that. So an example of that would be at the University of California, Berkeley. I worked, it was like a 72-hour shift straight, and my supervisor was supposed to come and get me, but he's like the freeloader type. Oop, sorry. He was the freeloader type, so he didn't like actually even show up to give me a break. So technically, it's in violation of labor laws and stuff like that. It wasn't ever part of my contract, and so there was a bunch of stuff like that at that place. It was just like, I think I was in a #1 program, and so there was a bunch of like the professors and supervisors, not all of the professors, some professors actually had work-life balance and cared about their family and stuff like that, but some didn't, and like my at least one of my supervisors was like that, and but I also had good supervisors, and for the most part I would say I've been very fortunate and I've had really good supervisors who don't push the legal limits. So like there are labor laws, and there is the 8-hour workday and stuff like that, and there's a big fad to kind of be like, oh, we're better than the law and stuff like that. The law doesn't apply to us, especially in startup culture, and so the 40-hour work week is not respected, and laws get broken and violated and stuff like that, because the supervisors genuinely don't care about family, or if they do, it's like, schedule that in, and it's just kind of like, that's not how, well, if you genuinely care, yeah. And so how did it's kind of hard responding to a supervisor like that. I ended up switching out. I quit that research group, and I quit having that supervisor because the requests were unreasonable, nonsensical, illogical, and ultimately illegal. So I was like, yeah, I stand for justice in this guy, and like just fair treatment. And that might be like, a lot of people are like, life is not fair. I'm like, well, but we can at least try to make it fair. As someone who doesn't push the work more is at least one attribute of a good supervisor, in my opinion. Speaking from experience and being very lucky, and who I've gotten. Oh, hey there, this is Sir. And so that's kind of my experience with work-life balance. I mentioned the squirrels. So what's it like with the squirrels? Because now I'm kind of my own boss and that kind of thing. So how has it changed? With squirrels, what am I like as a boss to myself? Well, work days vary. I don't push myself. I have to be doing something. No, I'm not that kind of a person. I recognize that I can push, but pushing needs to be balanced with days that are not pushed. So like if I do a 16-hour day, a 1-hour day is a good, you're balancing that out. Not continually pushing at that level, which is at the end of the day, unhealthy socially, physically, and emotionally / mentally. So that the squirrels are, well, I feed them 3 times a day. So I'm out here with them at least 3 times a day. And I end up spending maybe like 20 minutes with them each time, sometimes longer. I'll come out and pick up peanut shells and stuff like that, so that might be a day where I come out for like 4 or 5 times a day. I really love them. And if I'm in the house and they come up to the door and they're like, hey Tanis, come on out, I might come on out, that kind of thing. So they are a great what's so great about having the squirrels, there's a couple of things. So the first immediately related is I have friends. They help me realize I do need to take breaks. So when somebody's pushing, one of the easiest ways to kind of break up, if you have a bad supervisor pushing kind of more hours than you should be working, or are contractually obliged to work, or signed up for, that kind of thing, breaks are a great way to just be like, oh yeah, if I step away, it actually helps be like, I enjoyed the time away, I should make time for this, and then do. And the squirrels help with that because they're beautiful, huge hearts and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a reward or incentive to take a break and make sure to enforce work-life balance. And then the second thing is, or I guess it's actually kind of like an embedded thing, is my friends, so Kyle Chalmers and Chad Clos, they're fun fact about them, they're the only 2 male friends I've had that I brought back to my parents' house and that have spent the night at my parents' house. Not only that, they're the only 2 male friends I've had that I've even brought back to the house. Scar Baby's chortling, she's so happy. She loves Kyle and Chad. Don't you? Look at those little cheekies. They're vibrating. She's so excited. She does this when she's really excited. I don't know if you can see that. They're trembling. Okay. Anyway, so Scar Baby loves Chad and Kyle. Oh yeah, she's even here. Yeah, I do. I love them. And Stubbsy loves them too. So they've even squealed in excitement. So like Kyle will come out here, Chad will come out here, and like Kyle will have like a giant cashew, and he'll get down. He's a really big guy. He's big. I'm like 5'7.5". He's over 6 feet. He's tall, and he's a big guy, big buff. And he'll get down, and Scar Baby will be like she is now, and he'll crouch down. Come on. And he'll crouch down and kind of hold he'll find the biggest cashew he can, and he'll give it to them, and the squirrels will actually squeal in delight, which is called like a chortle, but I just call it a squeal. They squeal in delight. And see, look, Scar Baby's like, yeah, we do. Whoop. In delight, because the squirrels love Kyle and Chad so much. So that's just an example of Kyle doing it. Yeah, so they'll actually, there's a few squirrels that aren't here right now. They'll actually rotate the squirrels. Scar Baby's like, but not me, I stay. And so like there's like Droopy, who's not here anymore, and Scamper and Half Ear and stuff, and like occasionally like Chad will bring Half Ear back, and so then I'll be out here and it'll have been like 3 months, and then Half Ear will pop back up, and then Chad kind of like brought her back and let her loose, so to speak, and so I see the squirrel and I know Chad, or I see Droopy, or I see Scamper, and I'm like, Kyle, or you know, and like they kind of, yeah, so it's fun. It's like a really big, my friends care, and they love the squirrels. It's like they're we call them our squirrel childs, because we all love the squirrels so much. I mean, look at this mama, isn't she gorgeous? Look at this mama. Stubbsy. Oh, she's so beautiful. Yeah, she is. So I would really say that in my experience, work-life balance is so if it's a problem and you've realized it's a problem, make time, because especially if you have a bad supervisor, they're not gonna, if they're a really bad supervisor, they're not even gonna positively reinforce you having a life. I've been there. So it comes down to you taking a stand to fight for your life, and it doesn't even have to be a social life, just your life, and having balance and doing what you want to do. So I would say, 1, make time for yourself, especially if it's bad conditions, and even if not, like I had great supervisors who were like, you need to put you first. And so just kind of like being like, I need to make time for myself. I need to listen to my supervisor. There are times where there's bad supervisors, and then there are great supervisors who give excellent life advice, like put yourself first. Be like, make time for myself. 2, find something you enjoy. It could be a hobby. It could be an activity. Like I really loved Yelp when it came out back in the day. It's like 2005 or 2006 or something. And like one of the things I enjoy doing is going places and just posting pictures. And nowadays I write reviews, but it didn't start with writing reviews. I was just like, I love having this platform where I can post pictures to businesses, because I enjoy that, to see a menu item before I order it or something like that. It's like, this is okay, I'll go with this. So giving back to the community, and I really enjoy it. So, but that wasn't like, well, Yelp didn't even exist when I was like really young. Yeah, so find something you enjoy to help it make it easier, in kind of a routine or a habit to make time for yourself. And then, is there a third thing? I think there was a third thing. Make time for yourself and just give yourself grace. Or don't pressure yourself into feeling guilty, and yeah, and just focus on kind of like the number. I think sometimes just setting, if my contract is 40 hours a week, I'm going to write down, even if you have a job where they're like, we don't need to keep track of hours, track down your hours. That was what I did in graduate school. It was like, they didn't ask for timesheets. I still made timesheets, like to make sure, especially after my supervisor started pulling the illegal stuff, is I was like, I need to track my hours for me. And that was a night and day difference, just tracking hours to make sure I don't go over what I'm paid for. So like, which, yeah, so like, yeah, making sure that it, like, because the business was not enforcing what I contractually signed up for, I enforced it myself. Can't always rely on somebody else for regulation. And then I guess, like, I'm a millennial, so I'm a washed up millennial, so this may or may not be useful for you. I know there's Generation Z out there. It's their time. It's their turn. So this may or may not be relevant for a lot of people, depending on that. So I was born before 1995 and after August 25th, 1992. I'm not going to tell you what day and what year and what month. But I'm a millennial. The starting, I haven't heard like a definitive end date for Generation Z, but the start date, across the board, I haven't really heard any variation, is January 1st, 1995. So I am not a Generation Z. I'm a washed up millennial in their eyes, kind of thing. And so, yeah. So that's just my perspective. And Scar Baby's like, and we love Kyle and Chad. Stubbsy's like, me too.